Welcome back to another episode of the MacRumors Show. Hartley, I'm not even going to say good morning or good afternoon or whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't really work this time, does it?
Well, I guess it's good morning. It's good. We are 12 hours apart right now. So if everyone wonders why we're in different locations, Hartley, you are on the other side of the world now. So I hope you're enjoying your what is this, like a work vacation?
You can say that. It's a vacation,
Sure.
But I'm working at the same time.
Well, there's been plenty of news for you to dive right into, and that's exactly what we're going to do today with the Apple Vision Pro roadmap, because I wasn't expecting something well, not an M4. An M4 Apple Vision Pro is now expected to make its way very, very soon. So this was the latest news that's come out. We were expecting M5 and potentially next year then when that gets launched? Like early next year?
It was supposed to be this year, but the thing that didn't really make sense about this rumor was we don't have an M5 chip yet.
That's why I was going to say, I always thought it was next year.
Would the M5 chip debut in the Vision Pro? It's a possibility. I mean, the M4 chip debuted in the iPad Pro.
Yeah, but that doesn't make as much. That makes more sense to me than debuting in a Vision Pro.
So there was something a little bit strange about it. M4 makes a lot more sense. I mean, M4 is in a lot of products. It's across the whole Mac lineup. It's the first M series chip to be present in every single Mac that is on sale, at least that family of chips. And of course, it's also in both of the iPad Pro models. So it's a very widely utilized chip. Apple clearly has a lot of faith in that particular architecture, and it makes sense for it to want to put that in Vision Pro. But the interesting thing about this rumor is that apparently Apple is looking at adding cores to the neural engine specifically for Vision Pro. So it will be a modified version of M4 that we haven't seen before. And the neural engine, of course, is responsible for machine learning and local AI processing. So Apple Intelligence tasks, things like that, would run better on this next generation Vision Pro.
I mean, this probably makes sense. I don't know if it personally would need an M5 versus an M4. I think it would probably run plenty fine, especially if you're, making a specific modified chip for it to kind of play to its strengths. The only other thing to me is that so we're just doing a chip upgrade and there's really no other changes except for maybe a more comfortable strap. How are we expecting that to look? Just some modifications to where it sits on your head, basically?
I have no idea how it would look, but I think it is necessary. I think that if they're not going to change any of the rest of the hardware of the device itself, a new strap is essential. I mean, I don't remember the particular brand, and I don't know if you had a chance to test it out, but Apple stores began selling an alternative strap for the Vision Pro, a third-party strap that came with loads of different weights that you could distribute wherever you like on the band that sits around your head. And this would enable you to get the perfect sort of balance and fit for your head. It seemed like a pretty innovative solution. Of course, the only downside is you are just adding weight, but you're adding weight to the back of your head. So it kind of balances things out and equalizes it. I think that's at least the intention. That seemed like a pretty innovative solution to me. I don't know if Apple would do something similar to that. But all I know from my experience of using the Vision Pro is that both first-party straps that you get in the box are not very comfortable for prolonged periods. And Apple has had several years now to look at this. I wonder if some kind of counterweighted strap or even a much larger strap, actually, that supports a lot more areas on the head. I mean, there are those third-party straps that are very popular on Amazon that they distribute some of the pressure toward the top of your forehead. Mm-hmm. Because then it sort of lifts it away from around your eyes where you get a lot of that pressure. Those are very popular. So there are definitely options. Apple could look at the third-party strap market here and learn from what people seem to be using. I know that when we were at WWDC just a few weeks ago, and I saw people using Vision Pros, everyone that I saw using one used one of these straps that puts the weight on the top of your forehead. It seems to be something that's incredibly popular among Vision Pro users.
Yeah, I have one of those too, and I will say it does really help. My only issue then is you're right; it takes a lot of like weight off of it, but it also, in my opinion, lifts it up a little too much to where there's more light bleed, and I don't know if the trade-off is worth it. Like, I feel like it makes the experience slightly worse, like the visual experience. But then again, if you can't wear it for long enough, like to get through a whole movie because it's hurting your head, I guess you have to take that trade-off compared to, the comfort. So
it's a workaround solution. It's not, I don't think it's what Apple wanted to do with the Vision Pro at this point, going back several years. But I think it's a decent enough way of kind of showing its commitment to this product that has not sold a large number of units, and encouraging people like us really to go back to the device and give it another chance, and do so actually with the next version of Vision OS, several versions later after launch, where there have been a lot of changes, and some of them have been quite significant. I mean, imagine if you were a launch day Vision Pro user and you had enjoyed picking up that device, you'd been looking forward to using it, and you're using it with Vision OS 1, and then you ended up returning it, it didn't meet your expectations, and then you go forward to this M4 Vision Pro, and suddenly you're going to be running Vision OS 26 with all of these different changes to the gestures and the pass-through, a new headband. It should feel snappier. The Vision Pro feels a little bit sluggish to me. It did even upon launch. It did not feel like the fastest Apple device. So that actually would make a difference, at least as far as I can see. And that will be enough for some people who were not on board with the first generation to actually be on board with this version. But I say this version, not the second generation.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say, not considering it a second generation is an interesting move. I know this isn't the first time Apple's really done this. They've done that quite a bit, actually, with like these minor tweaks and changes, releasing it as a new product, but it doesn't get, like, what, the AirPods Max is probably the latest one to receive this treatment, where it gets USB-C.
That's a good example. The other one would be the AirPods Pro 2. There are two different versions of them. And they have actually more differences than you would expect. I actually suppose the same goes for the AirPods Max. But it is strange considering that, take something like the iPad Air. Apple just updated the iPad Air, and all they did was change the chip. So this Vision Pro will have more differences from the first version to the second version than
I think they
the
want
previous two generations of iPad.
Yeah. I think they want that second gen reveal to be major.
Yeah.
So it's just,
I think it's part of how they're trying to present this product. It's a marketing thing, because you're right, if they present a second generation version as a really minor upgrade, then people are going to say, well, this is a failing product line, which is exactly the opposite of what they want to say.
People are already saying that now.
Yeah. But that's why they don't want to indulge that. And it's far better if they can come out hitting with a true second generation model, totally redesigned a couple of years later.
So what are we expecting for this? It's supposed to hit production in 2025, which is this year. So like the third quarter. So what, September it starts to hit? No, third quarter is now, right? Pretty close.
Yeah. So this would be a launch, in my opinion.
Like October?
Yeah, around then.
Okay.
So if we get some sort of Mac event after the iPhone event, this would probably make sense to show around then.
So that's interesting. An M5 Mac event, but then they put the M4 in the Vision Pro and put it at that time. That'd be weird.
Well, I don't know if you've read into these rumors over the last 24 hours, but there's some stuff going on with the Mac lineup, which we should maybe talk about next week, which is there may not be M5 MacBook Pros this year. So
that's surprising.
If that's the case, then what is going on with some kind of October event?
I don't know. This will be interesting. So that's pretty much the M4 model. It's going to come out apparently at some point this year. Apple is again expecting to ship a very small amount, pretty much the same amount as the first launch, which was what, 150,000-ish, somewhere around there, 200. That's what they were expecting, but then they sell a lot more. But then I want to know what the return rates were, because I know tons of people that return.
Overall, I still think that the sales numbers were way below what they'd hoped for.
What do you think?
And that's why. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why they're even releasing this model. So when this comes out, this new version, people are going to say, "Oh, well, it's just the same as the first generation model." Well, it is the same as the first generation model because it's using the same parts. The reason it's using the same parts is because Apple put orders in with suppliers saying, we want this many Vision Pros. So they made all those casings, all those pieces of front glass, all those sensors and cameras. And then Apple thought, we're not selling enough of these, so we're not going to assemble them. And they just left these parts in bins and hasn't known what to do with them. So that's why they're making this stopgap, because it is a way of shifting these parts. That's not the only reason they're doing it, but it is a major reason
sure.
that, of course, they're never going to talk about.
No, that's a real popular thing to do, though. I mean, it's pretty much why we have the SE at this point, looking the way it does. And, you know, they got to reuse these parts. It makes sense, but I don't know. You know how I feel about these iterative upgrades. At this point, it's just like, just wait until you got the next best one and put it out. I feel like you're just doing more harm.
But you don't feel like... Given that the true second generation Vision Pro is not expected until what? Let's take a look here. 2028. That would be 4 years. Sure. Over 4 years, probably.
Got to do something. Yeah.
As a stopgap, you know, say for you, this is an opportunity to go and dive back into Vision OS and really see if that strap and if that chip makes any difference to your experience. Yeah. It should be just enough to hold your interest.
Sure. I mean, for me personally, yeah, but I'm going to be doing work again, and I think nobody's going to watch it because no one cares. That's the problem. And it's a shame because I still think, despite all of its flaws, it is a very good product. It just needs more. It has a lot of potential. That's where I'm going to be at. It's got a lot of potential. I don't think it's a failure. I just think some things were either rushed because they had to, or it's just not there yet, and you know, maybe they're saving it for the actual true second generation or what have you, but I think they'll get it right. I just don't know how long that's going to take. 2028. Let's move further down this roadmap, because we'll get to 2028, but 2026 we're not expecting anything with the Vision Pro or the Vision lineup in general, no smart glasses, but 2027 is where it gets interesting. I am a huge fan of those Meta Ray-Ban glasses. I think they're great. And we have heard lots of talk about other companies trying to do this, and Apple being one of them. Apparently, that's supposed to be the first year where we're going to see a look at these Apple smart glasses.
Yeah, so this should be quite interesting because for all intents and purposes, this will just be Apple's version of Meta Ray-Bans.
That's fine.
Which I'm okay with, but
yeah,
it is a pretty blatant pivot away from what they wanted to do with the Vision product line. I actually think that the Meta Ray-Bans, I agree, I think they're a great product. And I think Apple can do a lot with that product. I mean, the audio on Vision Pro is incredible. Mm-hmm. It's one of its best and most sort of under the radar features, in my opinion. And because you're so focused on the visual experience and the weird experience of wearing this thing on your face, it's easy to forget how good that audio is, where it's just projecting it into your ears. There's nothing in your ears. And they sound just about as good as AirPods 4, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And think about that. It's not just glasses. They're a whole audio product, basically. That's going to, people are going to use these. I use mine for like going on walks, or like, you know, I was in Disney with the kids, and like, you know, after a while you just want like some kind of music to drown out, like just a little bit, not to like drown out the family. That's not where we're getting at, but like just enough to like those dull moments where you're waiting in line and everyone's just like, you know, I can like I was putting the game on and like listening in the background, but I'm still alert and attentive to what's going on. That's like the perfect background. You're not being rude. You don't have like, no one knows what's going on. No one can, if they can't hear it coming from your ears, like, you know, that's a respectable volume. And that's like perfect. I go on walks every morning. Like if you want to be more alert and not get hit by a car, but you want music going on, like you're going for a run, maybe like maybe, a lot of people wear those like Shocks bone conduction head. Like that's a whole lineup that Apple's tapping into if they can get that same sound that you get coming from the Vision Pro. So I fully agree with you there. I think that just in itself will be great, but then there's so many other features that we're going to get apparently.
I mean, Apple's cameras are fantastic in general.
Yep.
And this is another instance when if you want to stay more in the moment and you don't want to be pulling your phone out your pocket. And actually that kind of first person perspective with that footage you get on the Meta Ray-Bans, it looks really good.
Just don't wear a hat. It does look kind of funky.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, it's hilarious. I've worn specifically when I was walking around Disney World, I had a hat on and you see like the tip of the hat.
Right.
It looks like I have like a fuzzy nose or something. It's very strange. So you just got to crop in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole other world. And it's like, I think it's what Apple tried to position the Vision Pro as, like, oh, you could be more present in the moment, but didn't realize how freaking goofy you look with that thing on your head. Wearing glasses is fine. I hope they make sunglasses versions of these too, because I don't know that I want to wear glasses that are clear. Like I would probably wear it more of like,
I think they'll offer both, right? Because if they make the frames, then the lenses, you can put in whatever kind of lenses you want. And of course, the other element with the cameras to consider is visual intelligence, which is getting better and better. I actually think in iOS 26, it's a pretty solid feature. And talking to other people who do have an iPhone that can run Apple Intelligence, visual intelligence is a feature that people do seem to use. Ordinary people, they like it for looking at, identifying what kind of plant they're looking at or whatever it may be. That does seem quite popular. And I can imagine that being a key selling point because, again, this is going to be in 2027. By then, visual intelligence should be really quite powerful.
Absolutely. Some of these new features from Apple Intelligence that's coming, they're not like main headlining features, but I think that's a lot of like, I think I can say this comfortably with hopefully people understanding what I mean. I know that Apple Intelligence gets a lot of flack, right, for not being as good as like ChatGPT, but they're different products. How many times have we talked about this? It's not a chatbot. It's not meant to do that. It's kind of meant to just be AI functionality in the background and serve it up to you when you need it. There are so many times where a lot of features are Apple Intelligence features that you don't even know is happening. And I think that is really good. And I just think Apple did a poor job of marketing what it is that it's supposed to be. They marketed the features that people wanted, and those were not ready yet, obviously. So but I think it just does it puts a damper on the features that are already here. And people say, oh, Apple Intelligence sucks. Name me features that you've used. But I guarantee you those people that are saying that are using Apple Intelligence features like it and don't even know that they're using it.
I think that's a really good point.
And I think that that's not fair. So I've kind of have this 180. I still think that Apple is 100% in the wrong with what they did on those commercials and those things about, the personal awareness and the context and everything. It's a whole different thing. But for what we have now, I don't think these features are bad or useless. And like you said, with visual intelligence, in iOS 26 specifically, that screenshot feature, I think a lot of people are really going to love. I really do. It just makes things so much easier. I know Google has a variation of it, but it just making it implemented throughout the operating system, giving you those suggestions so that you don't have to think about it, it has been really useful so far. So I think putting that in a different form factor and just kind of having those things work for you in the background and offer up these things so that you don't have to actually think and initiate that. It just kind of suggests it for you in your glasses, in your real world. I think the possibilities are pretty endless there.
The question I have about this product is I think that Meta's deal with Ray-Ban and now also with Oakley was ingenious. Because that's what sells it. You don't feel like you're buying a Meta product. You feel like you're buying a Ray-Ban product. And Ray-Ban styles, I mean, they go back to the 1950s. These are really classic shapes. These are shapes and looks that we are very familiar with. Take something like the Wayfarer. It's such a ubiquitous style and look that if you see someone wearing that, you actually can't tell at first glance whether they're wearing the Meta version of that or the actual standard Wayfarer that Ray-Ban sell. And yes, one is a little bit more chunky than the other, but you can barely identify it. I mean, the shape is preserved almost perfectly. And that is one thing that would encourage me to buy that product. So if Apple don't partner with other brands that have these very tried and tested styles, and they're going to just offer their own thing, a little bit like with the Apple Watch, when that was initially positioned as a fashion product, they had better have some pretty good shapes and some pretty good styles, because the Apple Watch, they failed with this. They designed that to be a fashion product with the Apple Watch Sport, the Apple Watch, and then the Apple Watch Edition, and all of these fashion-oriented bands and the whole way that even the watch faces were considered. It was all designed to be a fashion accessory first and foremost. But the Apple Watch can afford to move away from that toward being a health tracker, because many people will still keep a dress watch and their Apple Watch, and wear their Apple Watch 90% of the time, but sometimes wear the other thing. Glasses don't work like that.
No.
And there are far more popular products. People are going to buy one pair of sunglasses probably, and they want that to look good. They're wearing it on their face. It's not like their wrists where they can pull their sleeve up like no one's really looking at it. If that's on your face, it needs to look really good.
And that's the thing that I'm really concerned about, because like you said, they took the two most popular sunglass brands in the world, and I don't really know of many others, to be honest with you. I'm sure there are tons that are going to be fine, but Apple needs to, if they haven't already, hopefully they have. I'm guessing they have. If this is a true product that's going to come out in 2 years, you've got somebody locked down, and it's got to be something that is fashionable. I guess probably pretty premium, but not too premium to where you're pricing out too many people. It's obviously going to be more expensive, I'm guessing, than Ray-Bans and Meta's collaboration. And that's already I can't remember how much I bought mine for. I think it was $300, $350 maybe. It's a lot.
I can't see Apple charging a huge amount more than that, because these are effectively, I
guess, like $100 more, right?
Yeah, but I can't see them charging a lot more, because the Apple Watch starts at a lot less than that and has a whole display, has health sensors. Like, that's a very compelling product. And even something like the AirPods Pro are coming in at $250 with discounts. You can probably get it for about $200.
Yeah, but this will have Apple Intelligence and cameras. So you're just like it's a whole. But
there's there's no display. So what it basically is, it's AirPods plus cameras.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I actually think and I fear that Apple will probably not partner with other brands.
Well, that's the problem then, because then I'm worried about how it's going to look. And I wear Ray-Ban Wayfarers only, exclusively, because they're the only ones that I feel look better on my head and like are comfortable to me. And if I'm not getting that square shape, I'm not a big round, glasses person, or maybe like aviator style. Like, I don't know what kind of shape they're going to go with, but the square, like framed Ray-Ban classic Wayfarers, they're timeless. And I think that that's like the obvious route to go. But how are they going to do this?
I imagine they will probably take like 5 or 6 classic styles. There'll be some round ones, there'll be some squarish ones, and they will effectively look like popular, accepted shapes that they know work. Okay. But there's this weird thing with them, because it's a fashion product. So people like a brand, and Apple is not a fashion brand in that way. So this is an interesting space. But then again, I suppose, would I go for Meta Ray-Bans with a Wayfarer that's a familiar style that I know I like? Or would I go for Apples, even though it doesn't have that? I'd still go for Apples, because of course I'm in that ecosystem.
Right, because it's going to do something that you're going to be like, oh, that's cool. And you know what it's going to do? Because one of the more frustrating things about that whole thing is you got to use the Meta View app, and you've got to pair it, and sometimes it gets disconnected, and then to load the pictures, you've got to be on Wi-Fi. Apple's going to figure out a way to make that so seamless that you're going to be recording pictures or taking pictures and recording videos all the time, and it's just going to show up in your Photos app, and you don't need to do another app. You don't need to do another thing. And it's going to be so seamless and quick. You're never going to have to worry about it. So I just know that that's how it's going to be. Hopefully the charging case is better.
Yeah, let's hope it's not like an AirPods Max style case.
That's what I'm because I said the case for the Ray-Ban ones is perfect. Like, just rip that off, please. Should just be a normal a case.
Does the Meta Ray-Ban support gestures?
Not that I know of. I will be honest with you. I do use them a lot, but I only use them for listening to music.
Well, it's not a central part of the experience then.
No. There's like, what do you mean by gestures? Like physically tapping gestures?
As like in-air gestures?
No, not in-air. I know there are gestures that you need to do to control it on the side, but unless I've missed this update, because I know that some things have happened. Like, it didn't come with the ability to have like the Meta AI on it. It's that launched later, but I don't think there are gestures. I have not seen that. But there are some that you need to physically tap and swipe to like do on the side of the frames. But no. So is that what we're expecting with the...
I believe so. I mean, it may be on the device, but my expectation is that Apple will build on some of the gestures that it's established with Vision OS. And you will be able to at least like pinch to confirm, things like that.
That'll be interesting. But like, where would you put your fingers, though? Are they going to have cameras facing down to see, like the Vision Pro? Because if I got to do this so that it can see, because the cameras are like, okay, here's my face, here's the frame. They're like in the corners here.
But they're pretty wide angle.
I don't know. Yeah, they are. But
so they should capture a lot. But I imagine that will be an option, because although we don't know that Apple is going to call these glasses an actual Vision product, they may still try and separate the headset line from the glasses line. They are effectively, in the long run, going to become the same product. So they probably should call it a Vision product, and they probably should be bringing over features from Vision OS wherever possible.
I wonder what the Vision Glass, like what would they call it? I have no idea.
Yeah, something like that.
That's interesting. So we're expecting this to be basically scheduled for the second quarter of 2027. So that's not too bad. I mean, we got
September 27 probably be when it would come out, I'd imagine.
Oof. Would we see them at WWDC though? Because like a whole new, like, do developers need to do anything? Would there be third-party apps? I'm guessing I don't really know.
So. I mean, there's no display, so it would only be like little app snippets
like
that
Spotify,
that work through Siri. But then that's just app intent. So if you've already built that for the iPhone, then it should work on this product.
True. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about what roadblocks would come ahead, but I guess there's really not much. It's just an audio product, basically. So it'd probably behave a lot like the AirPods. Okay. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? Significant sales volume for this?
Well, Meta Ray-Bans sell in extremely large numbers. They're very popular.
Glasses.
I mean, they sell millions of those.
They've sold 2 million as of February,
which is a lot for Meta.
Absolutely.
That's an awful lot, and it's because they're at an accessible price point. And I think they are actually a really good product, and credit where credit's due with Meta on that one. I think Apple's will probably be even more popular than that.
Sure. Yeah. Again, it's just going to depend on the style. As long as it's nothing too crazy where it makes you the point that you probably have said, and the point that we need to reiterate, is that these just look like normal glasses. You don't look like you're wearing something goofy on your head. And I think that's the main appeal. Sure. At first glance, people might not notice. And if they go up to you and really look at it, then it's a little bit more noticeable. But like in some of these pictures, like these are perfectly just standard Ray-Bans with a little circle of camera here. Like for most of them, I don't think any people would be able to tell right away. And that's what Apple needs to get. And they will sell like hotcakes. You're absolutely right. I think they would do really, really well. Oh God, you wrote in here Snapchat spectacles. Those did not sell very well, but that was so long. That was so ahead of its time.
Well, they're still making them. They're still working on new versions of that product.
Can't understand why.
Because they're determined to compete in this space. I think 5 years from now, probably as many people who have an Apple Watch will have a pair of smart glasses one way or another.
Am I going crazy? Is this like an alternate universe? Does Meta not own Snapchat? Was there a point in time where they owned Snapchat or bought something of it?
I think you are going crazy, Dan.
I feel like I am. For some reason, I thought that they were like a...
I mean, they certainly lifted a lot of Snapchat features.
They own it's yeah,
but they didn't.
Meta owns them in a metaphorical way.
yeah. Let's say that.
Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking that, and I'm like, I can't believe they're still making these things. They're not doing anything. All right, so then let's transition over to the other product in the Vision lineup. If the smart glasses end up being in the Vision lineup, anyways. So 2 in the same year is kind of crazy, but this is where we're finally expecting the Vision Air, which, if you would like to take it away, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory what we're expecting there.
It'll be a lot lighter. So in this report laying out this roadmap, Ming-Chi Kuo said that they would be 40% lighter, which is, that's really considerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that point, the Vision Pro is... I think I'd be okay with using it at that point with that kind of reduction. And apparently that will involve doing things like the front glass will actually be replaced by plastic. It will use magnesium alloy instead of aluminium, and some of the heavier components will be replaced, and they will also remove some of the sensors. So that's probably going to lead to a bit of an inferior experience, but then maybe by 2027, Apple will have worked out how to provide an equivalent experience with, wide angle sensors rather than just by including more of them. And then this enables Apple to get the price down. It also won't contain an M series chip. It will contain an iPhone chip. Another thing to bring the price down. And it will be available for a lot less than the Vision Pro, because ostensibly that second version of the Vision Pro that we mentioned earlier is still going to be over $3,000. This, I don't know how much less, but Ming-Chi Kuo described it as significantly less. So maybe that's, $2,000, something like that.
That's not significant. Yeah, that's not significant enough. I would say you can't go more than 1.5 personally. You're basically giving half of the product of what you are, like what you're pulling from. And if that's, what is the price? What's the retail price for that? 3,500?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to cut that in half at minimum.
I don't think they'll go that far, but, because I think it will deliver a broadly equivalent experience to Vision Pro. It will just be slightly less powerful, fewer sensors, but in a lot of ways it will be more compelling, because I'm imagining walking into an Apple store in late 2027, and I want to get back into the Vision product line, and I'm choosing between Vision Pro and Vision Air. I'm going to go Vision Air because it's lighter, and that makes a dramatic difference to my experience. So that's very easy for me. And I think a lot of people will probably come to that same conclusion, because I'm happy to drop $1,500 on this product. I am not okay to drop $3,500.
I'm just wondering do you still think this would be a significantly better experience than the Meta products that are out there that are significantly cheaper?
Because you have that ecosystem advantage, and I do think Vision OS is really good. I think it looks, it's really well designed. Just visually, it looks fantastic. I think it's probably Apple's best looking platform. And just to watch some movies and have everything syncing across my different TV apps, to be able to quickly check my notes or whatever it may be, I can't do that on a Meta headset. I'm going to pay that extra amount for that more polished, well integrated ecosystem advantage. And what Apple needs to do with this market, it doesn't need to sell it to everyone that's interested in a headset right away. It just needs to chip away at it. And right now, I am not a customer for the Vision product line. but they will get me eventually, and they'll probably get me a lot sooner than they'll get a lot of other people. So it's a slow process.
I guess. I don't know. Because at this point, you're taking away what makes the Vision Pro the Vision Pros. Like the insane design, the attention to detail in that design, the premium, the great part about what you're taking away is that it's going to make the experience better because it's too freaking heavy on your head, which we've talked about too much, but it's still a lesser product in every sense of the word. And then it becomes very similar to the same form factor as what we have with Metas. And that's $599, potentially less. I don't remember. That's what it was at when it first launched. It's probably at the 300s now for some, like a really good headset that almost can do most of the same stuff that you can do on Apple's high-end version. It's just not as luxury feeling.
But this is the same as like the Android versus iOS argument and the way it's been for years. I can get a cheap device.
This headset's not as important to be in your ecosystem, in my opinion, than the rest of the stuff.
That's probably true. But for me, like if I want to access my library of purchases, like I've bought plenty of movies over the years.
I agree.
I don't want to buy those things again, and I certainly don't want to buy them in some Meta store. I want to be able to use things like the Things 3 for Vision OS is a really good Vision OS app. I'm not going to get that on a Meta headset. I want the real deal.
Harley, how excited were you when you met the people behind Things at WWDC?
It was a fanboy moment. It did feel like the culmination of many years of obsessing over this single app, which is one of the best third-party apps.
It's hilarious. If you all could have seen him when he realized who we were speaking with, just like his eyes lit up. I'm like, oh, this is a real fan right here. You need to genuinely.
I am the biggest fan of Things 3.
Yeah, on the planet, bigger than the parents of the people who made it.
Yep.
All right, so. I mean, I figure Apple will figure out a way to make this work and make it so that people, because I think even with Vision Pro selling, by the way, I looked it up. They sold apparently 400 to 500,000 units, which is more than what they were anticipating. They had it reserved at 90,000 at first, and then they were going to make a little bit more here and there, but I don't think they expected to go much more than that. Probably being like low couple 100,000, 200 maybe. They did sell more because they were able to convince people when you walk in the store of like, hey, you should try this. It's like a really, and it's cool. Everybody that I've ever lent it to has ultimately said, oh, I really want to buy it. How much is this? And then I tell them and they're like, never mind. But now you say, hey, remember that time you came over and you really loved this experience? Well, it's a cheaper version. It's not as good, but it's still really fun to use, and it'll hook up with your Mac, and you can do, you can work on it. You can watch your Apple TV content super easily, and it's $1,700. Oh, that starts to look a lot better now, to where I think those people might pull the trigger. So you're right. I think it will do better. I just don't know that, to me, that would be the smart purchase. But you know what? We've all made some dumb purchases in our lives, so just, we'll see.
It's just about getting that product line to where it needs to be.
Yeah. All right. Let's quickly run through the next 2 years because
we know less about those devices.
So we can kind of give a high level thing about it. So why don't you go ahead with 2028?
So we're expecting then the true second generation Vision Pro. Okay. So this will be a completely redesigned version, and that will be much lighter. It will contain another M series processor, whatever the latest version is at that point, I guess. But crucially, at a lower price. So I imagine then maybe you're going to have the Vision Air at maybe $1,500 and the Vision Pro at $2,000, a little bit like the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. But the key thing here will be the new design and the reduced weight coming to the flagship version of the product. And that's second half of 28. So by then, we'll have been talking about Vision Pro for 5 years.
Yep. It's a real long time. But way more than that, actually, if you talk about the years of buildup to when it actually came up, it's going to be a decade at that point.
Easily.
Yeah. And then where else do we go from here? Glasses, more glasses, the true XR glasses.
Yes. So this will be effectively a high-end version of the smart glasses product. And the difference being that this will actually contain a display.
Okay.
And this will be a little bit similar, I guess, to the, what did Meta call it? The Orion glasses that they showed off. So a similar product to that. Apple's not expecting it to be particularly popular, apparently. But again, it's about, influencing this market because Snapchat's coming out with a very similar product with a display. Meta is coming out with a very similar product with a display. And there are other brands that are also interested in doing this. Apple wants to be there. I don't think Apple wants to be left behind in the way that it has been with some of these other devices. And 2028 seems like a good time. By then, loads of people will have their hands on that first generation or that low-end version with no display. And if you then offer those people, well, now you can have this product, but it will actually have a screen, so your notifications will pop in. You can actually read text. If you want to get subtitles when you're talking to people, or have people's names pop up when you see them, or whatever it may be,
translation, all of that.
Yeah. You can now have all of that. So, yeah, I think that will be a really interesting product. I think that's one that I definitely will buy.
Do you think liquid glass is this is a rumor I've seen, liquid glass is the precursor to the kind of operating system design that you're going to get on these glasses? Because you need the transparency because you need to be able to see in front of you. Do you buy that, or do you think that this was just a design change that Apple wanted to do?
Yeah, I don't buy that because Vision OS exists. And Vision OS, I think, does that better, actually, than liquid glass. I still maintain even Vision OS 1 looks better because it didn't need so much transparency. And actually, too much transparency, as we've discovered, actually can make things quite hard to read. So if I'm wearing my smart glasses and I've got a notification popping in that's almost completely transparent, I'm not going to be able to see that thing on a little display that's close to my eyes. Whereas a Vision OS style notification, I will be able to see because it's frosted. It has more of you can tell it's digital, but it feels more grounded in the real world. And it's still very accessible. So I'm not sure I really believe that. What they mean is, I think the people that are perpetuating these rumors are just meaning that they just don't know that Vision OS exists, or they just they're kind of
stuff just to say stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, that makes more sense to me. The thing is with these glasses is that this kind of already is something. I know we're talking about a bunch of other competitors that are in the process, but did you forget at not WWDC, but Google I/O that they showed off more of Android's XR glasses?
Yeah.
And they're fairly good already. I mean, the demo didn't go super great, but I'm going to attribute that more to like poor Wi-Fi or like poor connection than like the actual product not being good. Because there are plenty of people that got their hands on it after the event and like got to test it. And, it's doing what Apple's going to be. So they're going to be, if this comes out in the next, I don't think it's going to be end of the year, but next year, that's going to be a few years behind. And I know we've pretty much done this with every product. Apple's never first, but they're better, right? That's like the thing that everybody says. They don't rush to it. They do it right. Do you get worried at all? Because it's kind of like the headset all over again.
Yeah, I do get worried because I don't think that's true anymore. I think that products like the AirPods Max show that Apple doesn't do that anymore. And I would also say that when you think, in a very timely fashion, actually this week, how good Samsung's foldables are now. Are you really telling me that Apple's foldable is going to be a world better than this? I simply don't believe it. I don't think that's going to be a better product. It's going to be the same product that runs iOS. Apple is not going to be able to do anything that's dramatically different.
That's what
Samsung.
Makes it better. That's what makes it better, though.
Well, that may be what makes it better, but it isn't. It isn't actually more innovative hardware.
No.
And I question that.
And that's where you got to give Samsung their flowers. Yes, I did just come back from the trip from seeing everything and checking them all out. But I'll say it if it's bad, but it's just not. They're just so good. They're
I mean, what they've done
the
this year is incredible by reducing the thickness so much, the weight, those displays, they look excellent. I think that they're probably the best devices Samsung's ever made.
Do you know what they did? They did the Apple thing. They saw other people go thin, but it had other compromises, and they were not the first to do it. I mean, even it's very close. Oppo's Find N5 that I had, earlier in the year was very, very good too. But it's got its own flaw. This took the design, and then it just put Samsung's touches to it, and it's great. Like, it is a good phone, and it literally is the same size and feeling as a normal phone when you fold it up and then you unfold it and you have this razor thin, massive 8-inch screen. Apple needs to copy all of that at minimum. At minimum, it needs to be that form factor or figure out a way to make it better, but I don't think you can right now. The only way I think they can do that and be on top is if they figure out a way to get no crease, because there's still a hell of a crease on this thing. It's very noticeable.
That is what Apple is going for, that supposedly is going to differentiate their product, is there will apparently be no perceptible crease.
Yeah, and then the only thing, when I say Apple's is going to be better is just because it runs iOS for us, it's going to appeal more. Like, I don't know though. I do this every year, but this year, you are saying that you like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold and even the Flip. Like, the Flip's got that full screen, although I still have my own grievances about that. Like, why are you holding us back on what we can do on that front screen? Drives me insane. But like, they're the top dog in foldables. So good luck, Apple. You've got your work cut out for you. But if they can manage to copy all of that or be inspired by Samsung's design and can make it perform like that, and then figure out a way for have iOS, because it's iOS, but it still needs to have some specific development for the experience. Then I think it will do fine. And I wonder how much it'll sell. But by the way, I got a little insight. I don't know if I should actually insight. I just never knew this because I never bothered to look into it. I met with some cellular executives, and they all told me that the Fold sells way more than the Flip. Is that surprising to you? Because it was to me.
No, I can imagine that.
I assumed people wanted more Flip, because it's like, oh, I don't need that big screen. I just want something that makes it smaller. Everybody complains about these phones being too big.
I don't know. I think that a lot of people probably, if you want a foldable and you're happy to go along with that, you want a traditional form factor so that when folded, it feels like a normal phone. And then when unfolded, it feels like an iPad. You can't get that with the Flip. No,
but you get much smaller device that then when you fold it or unfold it, it becomes just a normal phone.
I would like that. But I
assumed more people were like you.
If Apple offered both today, I would probably still go for the Fold.
Because that's different. It's more different than because yes, you still have two displays, but I think Apple will do the same thing that Samsung does and limit that software experience on the front screen to the point where you're like, yeah, it's cool and all. It's basically like a standby mode front screen. Like, what are you going to do with that? And then you open it up and it's just a regular iPhone experience. But with the Fold, it's like, oh yeah, this is a phone. And oh my God, now I've got a tablet. This is cool. Like, I've got plenty of things I can do. Though I will say the flex mode that you can do on the Flip, where you can prop it up and then like just make videos and stuff, I feel like if Apple did that, the influencer market would just freak out and there'd be more influencers than there ever were before, because it's just so much easier. You have your own tripod built in. But yeah, I mean, that was basically our roadmap for Vision Pro with a little epilogue. What's the prologue? Whatever the last thing is at the end. Yeah. Epilogue. I was right. Okay. Yeah. So with a little Vision Pro or foldables there for you. I'm more excited for that, to be honest, because it's happening before this stuff. But
you get your Vision Pro this year. You'll be picking up a new Vision Pro before you pick up a foldable iPhone.
I don't know. You think we should spend $3,500 to review it? I mean, we have to, right? We just have to.
Yeah, you will, and you'll enjoy it
for a little bit.
For a little bit.
Oh man! You know what? Tomorrow I'm busting out the Vision Pro. This has inspired me to bring it back. I'm going to get the beta on there. I'm going to get the beta on there. I'm going to get
see
the
if it
beta
makes a
on there.
difference.
It's been a little bit, not too long. I recently was using it for something, but now I need to use it more. I'm going to get the new beta on there and get myself hyped.
Yeah, get that new persona.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I needed to do that. I've been so busy, and now I'm finally home. I can do this. I'm going to get the persona. We're going to not look like a thumb, and everything's going to be great.
It's the future. We're living in the future.
Yep. Yeah, no more thumbs. All right, everyone. Are you? Yeah, you're still gone next week. So just know the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears going into these podcasts, as one of us is recording them very late at night while the other one is in the morning. Maybe next week it'll be you in the evening.
Maybe next week it'll have to be me. If I'm just, shrouded in the darkness of night next week, that will be why.
Okay. Well, no one knows because I've got the whole light thing, but we'll catch everybody in the next episode.